All right, you guys, podcast time. We got the equipment and the perfect business plan. Give our show away for free and tell no one how to find it. Ready?
Welcome to another episode of the Brand X Podcast, episode 64. I'm one of your hosts, John. Alongside me is Deuce.
Como esta, bitches?
And Joe.
Tally ho.
First off, happy 25th wedding anniversary to Deuce and his lovely wife, Diane.
You ass.
25 years of wedded bliss. Not too many people these days can make it to there, but
well, they suck.
I must agree. I was one of them. I bailed at I bailed at year 13. Yeah. I pulled that ripcord.
Yeah. Well, 7 is actually the average.
Yeah, 7 is when you want to get out, and then every year after that is just how much bullshit.
Well, actually, you nearly doubled the average. So
I almost did.
You're doing good.
It was close.
Most people don't make it past.
It was
7.
actually 7.5 years, to be quite honest with you. After the 7. No, 6.5. Almost. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Happy anniversary.
You're rambling. Yeah. It went from, as always, it started about me and it went right to being all about John.
Of course. It's all about me.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for being there 25 years ago, both of you.
It almost wasn't. It was the wedding that almost didn't have a best man. It was funny because you put the pictures up and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And said person said, "Oh, what a fun day." And I was like, I don't know where you were. I don't know how. Maybe once we got there, but up until then, not so much.
Oh, I kind of found it very entertaining.
Well,
my ass was covered.
I understand that, but what happened was we woke up and
fell out of bed, dragged the comb across your head.
That's what I did, and I had to put see, what happened was my tuxedo was at your house, so all I had to do was throw on sweats and then head over and get dressed at your house. That's what we were going to do. Mm-hmm. Sandy had to put the dress on and get her hair done, and she had to have her hair up. Mm-hmm. So with that, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. Now, I don't know how hard it is to put a hair up in a bun. I have no idea. It's ridiculous. But she's in there with the hair dryer and putting up the hair and all this. And she's like, this isn't working. I'm like, just put your hair up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And she's like, no. And she took it down. She was going to wash it again. I'm like, we don't have time for washing again. Put your hair up. She goes, I'm not going out like this. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going out like this? The wedding's starting. It's not like we have to. You can't show up late. You're the maid of honor. I'm the best man. You got to get going here. All right. And she's like, I'm not going. What do you mean you're not going? I'm not going like this. You're in the way. You're the maid of honor. I can't. It's hair. Put it up. It's no one's even going to notice. So she's freaking. I'm freaking. Finally, I'm like, I'm not going without you. So I guess everybody moves up.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a best man. She's not going to have a maid of honor.
Well, she had to drive down to Hamilton for all the pictures in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. So, which is not exactly around the corner from where you were living at the time.
It was this close. Mm-hmm. I said, what? I guess I'll just never talk to him again. I guess we just won't be friends anymore. Because there's no way I'm showing up without you. And if I don't show up, he'll never speak to me again. Dude, it was, we were at DevCon 5. Or 4? Which one's the worst? 5 or 1?
Actually, DEFCON 1 is the worst.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we were 2.9. I mean, we were so close to 1. It was ridiculous. And finally, I don't know what happened. She just put her hair up, and we got in a car and just raced right there. So then I get to your house.
What did you do? Drive her to Hamilton, and then
because
and then came to Gibbsboro.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I drove her to Hamilton, dropped her off. Race back.
I was at the house, and then you pulled up.
Yeah, I come pulling up, right, all disheveled, out of breath, frazzled. I get in.
No cell phones then.
No, right? Get in, go to put my shirt on, everything. The last thing I put on the cummerbund, I go to put the thing around back. I go to snap it in, the fucking buckle snaps. It goes shooting off me across the room. I was like, now what? Now what do we do here? We can't get another one. Tied it on.
Yeah.
Tied a knot in it. Tied it on.
Safety pin city. And
that was it. Then we forget the rings.
The Genghis.
Drive all the way. Genghis has to drive all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out because I have no rings.
Yeah.
Diane's like, I'm not putting a ring on. It's not mine.
They were scrambling to get rings.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and he's like, here, use this one. That's not my ring.
That's
I'm
not
not
mine.
wearing that.
Nope.
I won't put
Just
that
in the
on.
nick of time, Genghis comes through.
Genghis goes,
Side door Genghis.
I'll be right back. He drives all the way to the house, gets the rings, comes all the way back, and
Genghis was not exactly a land speed
yeah.
record
No,
driver.
he was,
So he comes back, and it was just where they were getting ready to give the priest was going to give the rings, ready to ask for the rings, and I got nothing.
Yeah.
When he said rings, I was going to go, surprise, we don't have them. Now what?
Go like this. Just
And
make
with
the-
that, a
Phil.
hand come out of the side door with like 2 boxes in it, and I turned, made a spin move, walked over, grabbed them like I was supposed, like they were supposed to,
Like it was all
supposed to happen.
choreographed to do it
Came
that
back,
way.
opened up the rings, and then gave them to you.
I was just as surprised as to get the rings as you were. Probably I was like, oh, well, they got here.
Right. And then when we got to the
Because my back is to everything. Yeah, you're looking at the
Yeah.
the minister.
Oh, I got a first hand. I got a front row seat.
Yeah,
to all
well,
this
you're
shit.
looking at the
Ah.
minister, and he's doing his thing, and you know.
sweats.
So I don't know what's going on behind me.
Sweats pouring off me. I'm in tails. I look like a penguin.
I did check the soles of my shoes though, just to make sure that,
That you didn't do that. They did that to my uncle. My
Help
uncle
me.
Leonard. Yeah, HE on one shoe, LP on the other. Help
Yeah,
or
help
no,
me.
each help. Yeah, and then under it's ME. So, matter of fact, there's a picture somewhere with my uncle and my aunt kneeling at the altar, and it says "Help
me. Yeah, I checked. Yeah.
So no, we didn't do anything like that to you. We wouldn't do anything like that to you.
No, my cousin Carmen tried to sabotage the wedding though.
He did.
Oh, we'll see what had happened. That was in my family. That was the year of the weddings. So there was me and 3 of my cousins all got married in the space of like a year and 2 months. It was like boom, 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 boom. Diane and I were the last wedding on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
The previous wedding at the same church, my cousin Danny and his wife got married by the same minister. And when they did the Our Father portion of the ceremony, he was speaking to them. He said, would you like me to sing the Our Father?
I remember this
Because I like to sing. And they were like saying, well, yeah, sure, I guess that would be kind of okay. So we're watching, and they're up there, and they're kneeling at the altar. This guy is literally, he was a short dude, and his face is not that far above their face. And he bursts into song, and he's singing the Our Father, like 11 inches away from their face. And we're like, we're laughing. And what made me laugh the hardest was my grandfather was like 4 pews up. So his back is to me, and he's like,
his shoulders are going up
Shoulders
and
are
down.
going-
but he was sitting bolt upright, like, and he's like, he looked like he was having a seizure. So when we found out that we got the same minister and we were going through the rehearsals and all that, he asked, would you like me to sing the Our Father? We were like, no, because there was no way I would have been able to keep it together. I would have bust out laughing.
Yeah.
Well, my cousin Carmen,
Me and Carmen, we
Yeah.
both got it. Yeah,
they
listen.
went and they said, oh yeah, listen.
Yeah,
they
he wants you to sing the one.
They would like you to sing the Our Father, and his face lit right up.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, they want me to sing?
So then I will finish the story because I was there.
Okay.
So I'm at the back of the church. Diane's there. I'm getting ready to take.
Yeah,
I forget
they just got her out of the limo.
right. So they get her out of limo, and the priest walks up to Diane and says, "So I hear you want me to sing to Our Father." A look of horror comes over her face, like her eyes light, her eyes get huge. Right? She's like, ah, like I swear, like somebody had a machete, and she goes, "No, no."
No,
we do not want that. And they said, oh, well, so-and-so. She's like, no. Her head's shaking.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
eyes
you
are
see
big.
like that.
And she's like, no. And I'm cracking up.
Yeah,
'cause
Diane does not have a poker
no,
face.
No.
Would
When
have none of
he
that.
says, oh, I hear you want me to sing the Our Father, the look of her with the horror on her face was unbelievable.
Yeah, Diane's pretty good with a face of horror, like big eyes.
She's very...
I called her Emmett Kelly because her eyebrow. You know that clown Emmett Kelly, the sad clown.
Okay.
Okay, if you ever Google the pic, yeah, get
It's
a.
amazing you've lasted 25 years, but
Is
go
it?
ahead.
Well, her eyebrows go up like Emmett Kelly's.
Exactly. They do.
They go at this weird angle. It's like they're like fake eyebrows almost. Just the way she furrows her forehead, like no.
Yeah, it's hysterical. So yeah, we went through the whole thing. Everything worked out. We got to the reception.
Riding in the limo with the sun, the roof back, the sun,
yeah.
and we're like out there like drunk, driving through towns, like sticking our heads through the sunroof, you know.
And Genghis, look, he looks like Hitler standing up out of the window.
Wow.
Yeah,
black
Genghis.
tuxedos always get confused with like Nazi
Well, you
uniforms.
remember that old newsreel footage of Hitler when he's driving over the crowd? He's like standing over the...
Got his hand out waving like this.
Like I was running for office.
Straight out. Yeah.
Genghis always liked to invoke Hitler for one reason or another.
I have no idea why, but okay.
And they were tap dancing, all of us. They put us in that big empty
we're all tap
reception room,
dancing.
and it has the parquet ballroom floor. And for some, we're drinking champagne and eating hors d'oeuvres while everyone else is, and they're taking pictures of us and all that crap.
I was white girl wasted by the end of the night.
Yeah.
Sandy had to drive me home. I was done. She's like, "You going to be able to drive?" I'm like, "Yeah. I can drive."
Sure.
It's like,
Why not? Let's try it.
Give me the keys.
Cummerbund all messed up.
Oh, that cummerbund. As soon as we hit the reception, as soon as we got pictures done,
once
and
they
the
were
first
done.
dance,
That was it.
I untied that thing and unpinned it and got rid of it. But and I think the jacket, well, you know me, I sweat like a pig anyhow.
Well, very seldom
soaked.
people we did get lucky. I mean, the weather yesterday was exactly how it was the day I got. It was really a cool day for August.
It was.
Because I don't know if you remember, we were nervous because it rained 5 days before our wedding. And they were saying they were predicting it was going to rain the day of the wedding. And it wound up being a beautiful day. It was sunny. It was cool by August standards. It was like in the high 70s.
We were all dancing.
It wasn't that humid. When you're wearing tuxedos, though, it gets very humid.
Yeah, back in the day, I used to, I loved to dance. So we were out there on the dance floor the whole time, drinking, dancing.
Laughing, farting, carrying on.
Yes.
Grab ass.
So, yeah, it was
Yeah, a couple hundred people there.
After everything calmed down.
And they say and they always say that you need like at least a year and a half to plan a wedding. Bullshit. Yeah.
No,
we planned. Diane got divorced April the 15th. It became official, and we got married that August, the following August.
That's quick.
And 200, you were there, 200 people, DJ, open bar.
Well,
just like
same thing.
It can be
you know
done.
why you need a year and a half? Because
so they can spend more money.
Right,
so they get it out of you.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, not only that, because these guys go right after the women. Because guys are like, no, we don't need that. We need well, they go for the soft spot in the whole thing. An operation
who
that
are we supposed to go after? You mean we go after the women?
No. I'm talking about the caterers,
the wedding planners.
Yeah, right. They just bypass the guy like an old lady on the freeway. And therefore, an operation that would normally take about 3 months tops.
Well, my biggest handicap was Diane. Like we went to go to the caterers, and they go, okay, we do the cakes and everything, and they had this wall. It was literally a display case, like 20 feet by maybe 10 feet high. And in this display case, they have all the cake toppings. Okay, the bride and groom, or a bell, or whatever. So Diane looks at us, well, I like this one. And the woman says, well, that's our most expensive one. Yeah, sure it is. Now, why wouldn't it be? It's Diane's picking it out,
I thought you were going to have one made where she was like,
well, that's what I wanted. I drew that picture of
all fours, and you have your foot on her back.
Yeah. And she got her foot on my back, like
triumphantly,
Look what I did.
Arms raised.
Like the way a hunter shoots a wild boar with those pictures, like that. Yeah, Diane didn't think that picture was all that cute either.
No, she didn't like that.
That's still somewhere. Someone has it.
It's like I said, that whole women versus men thing, and now I just really come to the conclusion that the way that women think and the way that men think, it's amazing that the species has made it this long, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if it'll make it another 100 years because of...
we got hormones.
It's all fucked up.
As long as we got hormones, it'll go on.
As long as orgasms feel that good, I figure it probably lasts. I don't know.
Well, with sex bots and all that, you're going to be,
That is true. Sex bots could kill off the population.
Nah.
I'll tell you what, remember the movie Sleeper? I'm waiting for the invention of the orgasmatron.
That's true.
That'll
too.
end everything.
Right.
That'll be it.
Oh,
No.
like no one has a hand.
What's that?
Like no one has a hand.
No,
Everyone
that's the
has a
point.
built-in orgasmatron.
That's true.
Yeah, but you say the way Woody Allen walked out of that thing, I don't think anybody's hand can do that for you.
Here you're. Who would have thought Joe would be technopolly looking for the orgasmatrons?
That's right. True. But anyhow, congratulations. Glad to see that.
Well, thank you.
You guys made it 25 years, and I hope you have another 25 more. I wish that on both of you.
That's possible.
There you go. Another.
I mean, just doing the countdown on her, adding 25 to our ages.
That's true.
Possible for Diane. You're another
Yeah. I'll be dead in 10 years. But
right. I hear you. So, in Massachusetts, a 50-year-old woman is the single winner of the $758.7 million Powerball prize.
Woo, baby.
She found out. She immediately called her employer and said,
fuck you.
I'm calling out for the rest of my life. No, she said, I called and told them I will not be coming back. Mm-hmm. Her name is Mavis L. Wanziski.
It looks like Wansick.
Wansick. Maybe it's Wansick.
Now, that was foolish for her to, come out and...
I think some states, some states you can come out as they'll do it anonymously. This fakakva state we live in, you have to come out and announce.
Well, they backed off on that. Well, where did she win?
Massachusetts.
Okay. Well, first of all,
a lot of times they'll get lawyers to represent them.
I agree with this.
That's what I would have done.
I would have done the same thing. First thing,
lawyer.
So, not that I play Powerball anymore. I didn't even buy a ticket for this.
Every charity in the world is going to be looking for her right now.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing that I would do is I would form a corporation.
Yeah, right. Lawyers, security people.
Right. This lady's...
Tax,
This lady, right now, she took the $480 million lump sum, $336 million after taxes. Mm-hmm. I think I could get by on that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
But like we said, I'd have to give up steak and lobster, but I'll get by.
Right.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. I'll be all right.
Even after paying the taxes on the winnings, she is worth more than some small countries. She's single.
And free to mingle.
Yeah.
She worked for 32 years in a clerical job in a nursing department at a hospital in Boston. Well, actually, Springfield. A month ago, she shared a post on Facebook joking she needed a vacation. And by vacation, the post read, I mean, I need to move away and find a new job on a beach with rum.
Oh.
So
I've seen that meme, yeah.
She has 2 adult children, a daughter and a son. She's sitting pretty.
Oh, yeah.
I knew there was going to be a winner when I saw them because when we sold lottery tickets, we would refer to them as all birthday numbers because not one of those numbers was above 31.
Right. See, so my problem is right now is that I blame my family because their birthdays
they weren't born on the right day.
They weren't born on the right day. It wasn't my...
Rat bastards.
Right.
Yeah. Got to play high.
But, her being single right now, I can just imagine her phone must be blowing up.
Yeah.
Hello. No one is available to take your call. Yeah. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Mavis. My name's Jim. They call me the Jimmy. You might have heard of me. I'm on a couple of podcasts. Anyhow, I saw your picture. You're quite the looker. And I was wondering maybe, I'm thinking about moving up into the Boston area.
He's quite the charmer.
I've lived in Jersey all my life. I'm divorced and, she
rambling along a little bit.
Anyhow. I was wondering if maybe someday you'd like to get a cheeseburger.
That's smoothie.
I think that we could, have just call me back.
So anyhow, that's probably going along. It's probably going a lot. That's happening a lot.
She's going to have boy toys all over the place.
She's going to have to change her number and everything because I'm sure, it's not stopping.
Hello. Yeah. No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Mavis. It's the Jimmy again. In all my excitement, I forgot to leave you my phone number.
He refers to himself as
856-241-5555. I get flustered around beautiful women, and, well, you really are something, you are. Call me back. Gotta go.
So, anyhow, I'm sure she's got a lot to deal with. I mean,
Did you listen to Three's Comedy's last podcast? Where the question of the podcast was, if you hit the lottery, would you fix your house up or would you move?
I would move.
Yeah, well, I had answered. I
Right.
had said, I said, sadly, I would move only because like every charity in the world,
Yeah, they're going to come after
people
you,
are-
man.
yeah,
They're going to be.
and the way
attack
she came out so publicly, I assure you, right now as we speak,
Hello,
she's
no one is available
bottled
to take
up.
your call.
I mean, her
Please
phone
leave a
probably is
message after the
not
tone.
stopping.
yeah.
Hey, Mavis, it's the Jimmy again. You know, I wasn't really thinking. I was thinking that maybe the cheeseburger wouldn't be as good as a good old-fashioned bowl of clam chowder, the Boston kind. Not that shit they serve down in Manhattan with the red sauce. I like the creamy stuff with the potatoes and the clams. What is in that other clam chowder? I mean, who's got time to make that? Anyhow, I thought maybe we could get a lobster roll and a bowl of clam chowder. So, I gave you my number. I'm also on Facebook, and I think I'm on the Twitter. Call me back.
So anyhow, yeah, she's probably having all kinds of problems. But I would move too.
Good for her, though.
You have to.
That's like she's living everyone's fantasy.
Yeah.
You have to.
Hit a huge lottery like that.
Not only do you, I mean, okay, I quit my job. Well, you have to quit your job. You would.
There's.
You just say.
Could you imagine going back with all that?
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Well, there was a guy that years ago when I worked for I was a kid. I was a senior in high school. Remember the Owens Corning fiberglass?
Yeah.
There was one on Route 73 in Berlin.
Okay.
That they had and there was one I think in Barrington. But anyway, they announced that they were going to close the one down. And this guy was in the store and he picked up the newspapers. Good, those bastards, they deserve it. And me and my uncle were like, "Ooh, that's kind of cold." And he says, "Oh, I used to work there. I had to quit because of those bastards." And here, this was years before there was Powerball Mega Millions. The Jersey Lottery, if it got up to like $8 million, that was a lot.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and it took a while to get there because there's a little bit of inside baseball here, but they only had 36 numbers to pick from. So usually you were always splitting the winnings with 4 or 5, sometimes 6 other tickets.
Right.
So this guy won, and he was ecstatic. And what did he do? He went to work. "Hey, I hit the lottery," and everyone's, "Oh, that's great." Well, here he didn't know he had hit with like 7 other people.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he was like one of 7 people, and they're dividing like $2 million up.
Oh.
Well, guess what? You're not retiring, dude, because
No.
he was getting like $15,000 a year maybe for 20 years, which is nice.
Yeah,
It's a nice little side.
But you're not
sure.
retiring,
Right.
You know. So what had happened? Everyone was initially glad for him. But then after that, it became, "What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah,
Hey, my nephew needs a job. You're keeping someone out from having a job that needs one." He was going out to his parking lot. People let the air out of his tire. Like they
Really?
slashed his
Oh, yeah,
tires.
yeah. People
they
are
were
fucking
fucking
brutal.
his car up. You know, he had to leave that job. Gave up all the seniority that he had in the Fakakta union that they had there because these were all these union brothers that they were doing this to him. You know,
Right.
and he had to leave there. So when the story hit the newspaper that Owens Corning was folding up in New Jersey, that's why he said that. You know,
Wow.
so you got to watch what you say because deep down, a lot of people are jealous.
Oh, they hate
Hello,
that
a
shit.
lot
no
of
one
jealous
is
people.
available to take your call.
Yeah, I mean,
Please
listen,
leave
if the
a
phone won't
message
stop.
after the tone.
You know how straight I am? I'll fuck you in the ass to prove it.
I mean, there's all kinds of people calling.
Yeah. Did
I
you ever
mean-
see that show, How the Lottery
Oh,
Changed
No
My
one
it
is
won't stop.
available
Hold on, how do I
take
get this
your
to
call.
stop?
Please leave a message after the tone.
I could wear my dog as a condom and fuck a bigger dog.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but anyhow, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, sorry, Joe. What were you saying?
No, you ever see that show, How the Lottery Changed My Life and all that?
Yes.
Most of the people, as soon as they win, man, that's all the pricks and bastards. They come right after him, and that was a big thing. It was guys that he knew all his life, family.
Turn
guy
on him.
Yeah, they're it's like
turn
when
right on him.
when you hit, they think they hit,
yeah, right.
right? So
Yeah,
how many?
Your good fortune is their good fortune.
All right, so let me ask you this question.
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I sprung something on him. So you hit the lottery. How far out do you go? Let's say you hit for 330 after taxes, 322 million. No, I'm sorry, 336 million after taxes. How far out do you go giving money? How far of the rings in your family do you give money to?
Well, sadly, my family's gotten smaller.
Okay.
So, yeah, obviously I'd hook up my brother Mike. Fuck Joe, he's on his own. No, I'd hook up.
It's always been that way.
Yeah, she's the middle child. That's what Genghis told him when he redid the will. Well, Joe, you're the middle child. So,
Wow. Yeah.
Because Genghis was the middle child too. So, no, well, obviously my brothers.
Okay.
My son, my wife. I only have a few aunts and uncles left.
Would you knock off a chunk of that for them? Would you give them?
Oh, I would probably hook everyone up.
Yeah, I'd help.
I think you're allowed to legally give, I think it's $10,000 a year, and then they don't have to pay taxes on it.
So you're worried about the taxes? I mean, you give
they would have to pay the taxes.
To pay the taxes.
If I gave you $11,000, you'd have to pay the taxes
I got
on that.
that.
But if I gave you 10,
if you gave your
gift.
aunts and uncles $10,000 a year when you have $336 million, they would spit in your face. That's the problem.
all right, well,
Yeah. Well,
Wouldn't you just
depends
carve out like $2 million?
well, first of all, you have to remember that half of that money's Diane's. She's my
understand that.
spouse. So now
Okay.
you whack that down to $150,000. I would
$150 million.
I would probably split that ticket up 3 ways.
Okay.
That'd be me, my wife, and my son.
Okay.
Okay. So now,
So you each now have $112 million
more or less.
after taxes.
Right. Okay. Then you got to start paying shit off. Like, it'd be a good idea to pay my house off.
Okay.
Not that I owe a lot on it,
Right.
you know.
All right. So out of the $112 million, now are you going to make Diane
But
pay
see-
half your house off? Or are
but-
you going
but
to
see,
be
you
the
can make
gentleman?
It's her house too.
I understand what you're saying, but what people fail to realize when you think you're helping other people out, you are sometimes creating a burden for them because the tax situation for them
This is fascinating.
becomes does because a lot of people lose this shit. Like, let's say my Aunt Mary, she's 87 years old.
Okay.
All right, she's on Social Security.
Mhm.
Now I hook her up with $50K. She ain't going to get $50K. She'll probably wind up with 12.
Yeah, you know what? You shouldn't give them any money.
You're better off you're just better off giving her $10,000 a year every year, and it's a gift.
Not to
Right,
them.
yeah.
They would boil you in oil. They
wouldn't.
That
would
depends.
badmouth you.
There's relatives.
See, I wouldn't do that at all.
There's
I would
relatives.
immediately I would be giving out like $3 million chunks. That's what I would
And they
do.
wouldn't even get that.
They would get, what are they going to get?
They would
have
get
to pay taxes
less than
on it.
half than that.
I know that
It's not
within
less
every
than half
family,
because
They
it's-
would get less than half than that.
It can't be because she already, the payout was
If
$460.
if you give me $3
$480,
million,
right?
Which, all right, that's very gracious. If you give me $3 million, I will not get $3 million.
No, you have to pay taxes on it.
I will get half of that amount.
I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm
You
not a
are.
tax attorney. I think if you give a gift,
It's $10,000 a year max. That's it.
wait a minute, hang on. If you give a gift, you can pay 20% gift tax, and they don't have to pay the tax. The tax on it would be 20%. So let's say you're going to give them $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to pay $3 million and 20% of $3 million in tax. You'd have to pay the tax on it, and they could have $3 million.
$600,000.
$600,000. You have to give them $3,600,000. They give or if you want to give them $2 million.
Well, that drives
$400,000.
the tax. If you gave $3,600,000, that would be the tax, according to what you just said.
I might be a bad son, but you're a cheap relative.
I'm
I
realistic.
wouldn't. I'll tell you why.
I think it's amazing. Isn't
First
it?
of all,
Because Diane and I both work. So now whatever they're going to take our income
Yeah.
and they're going to attach that to whatever sum you're going to give me. That is now your income. $10,000 is the limit on a gift. Whatever you're talking about, like a gift.
But don't you mean gift?
Gift. And the $10,000 gift. So
I have a feeling that if you hit the lottery, your family wouldn't talk to you anymore. That's
Well,
just
within
me.
every family,
Right.
within every family, there's going to be some. Hey, remember me? I'm your cousin.
Sure.
Alfredo.
I'm your
Yeah.
cousin Artemis. You haven't seen me in. But here I am, and hey, look, could you help me out here? I there's probably a few.
Could you buy their houses off them and then
Well,
rent
what you
rent 'em
could
$1?
do, I think, is you would have to pay the houses off. You actually, they sell you their house.
Right.
But even then,
And then you just sign the title over to them.
but
Right.
if you paid her houses
Or
off,
you sell it back
might,
to them for $1.
yeah,
Right.
But if you paid her houses off, now you just knocked them up into a higher tax bracket.
No. If you paid their house off, let's say
You buy their house.
they bought a house for $200,000.
Right.
Okay, they've been there 7-8 years, whatever. So now they owe $165,000. You pay that off. So now you've you've bought the house for less than what they paid for, so they're not going to pay any capital gains tax if that's what you're thinking.
No. I'm thinking income tax because they
that's
no
not
longer have
income.
a.
Right.
Well, no. I'm saying like if you
So
have a
then
mortgage,
They sold the house
can
at a
go-
loss, and then they get the tax benefit of selling it at a loss. Then you wait. You let them live there, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
Move your shit out of my house.
then I think you have to. Then you would probably have. I would assume, and again, like you said, I'm
Listen,
not a
Aaron,
tax
I don't care
attorney.
if you're
All right, well,
97.
I think
First
you
of all-
have to wait until the following tax year to sell
Yeah.
it back to them.
first
for
of all,
$1.
you got to have a plan. If you win that kind of money,
Yeah,
you got to have
get
a
it-
plan. You
right.
can't.
I ain't going out public like she did.
No,
No.
that'd be crazy. I think what she did was fucking
Right.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why she's the reason they wrote all those Polish jokes in the 70s.
That's right. How dare you? How dare you?
She is going to
I am
be-
offended.
Hey, you know what a Polish woman gets on her wedding day that's long and hard?
The tax return?
A new last name.
Oh, yeah, that's true. How about that? There we go.
Can't tell jokes like that no more.
okay,
People
What's
get upset.
fun?
Well, what is your plan anyway?
My plan?
Yeah. You started describing what your plan would be.
Well, I think I would go out as far as first cousins. That's as far as
What if
the
you have
money would
first cousins that you don't like?
go. You have to give them money anyhow.
No, you don't.
I do. I would have to.
No, you
Fuck them.
See, I think my family would love me. The first
So
cousins.
you're trying to buy their love.
That's
huh?
right.
That's what it is.
Exactly what I'm doing. I'm
Love
buying.
me, love me.
I'm buying love.
No.
Honestly, what I probably would do, if with that amount of money, I would take and I would hire. I would have a corporation.
Yeah.
And probably $325 million of it would go into the corporation to make money.
What I would do personally is like you get a good lawyer, and then I'm going to Goldman Sachs and look, you fucking greedy motherfuckers, you put me in whatever Caroline Kennedy's doing because she hasn't worked a day in her fucking life. Whatever those blood-sucking Kennedys, whatever you put them in that keeps them solvent for those trust fund motherfuckers. That's what I want. You match me percentage to percentage with what I'm giving you.
You and the DuPonts.
That's it.
Right, exactly.
That's what you do.
Well, I would disappear. First, I would just disappear.
Because
I'm leaving the Northeast.
Yeah. No. I mean,
I'm
not.
outta
I don't
here.
mean just. I don't mean disappear, pack up, and leave. I mean, the first thing you would have to do is just immediately vanish.
Change your name.
No, none of that. I'm just saying. Okay, like you said, first thing I would have to do.
It's hard to do
I'm
that.
hiring.
It's easy for you. You're single. You don't have any children.
No. Let's start from day one. I just found out I won $350 million.
Right.
Okay. First calls. I'm buying security people. I'm getting
I know one.
lawyers, and I'm getting good accountants. That's the first thing you do.
Jewish?
What's that?
Jewish
I don't care who. I just want the best I can get.
Okay.
And the next thing you have to do is you got to make sure you extend your security people to some of your nearest family, because if they can't come after you,
They'll kidnap.
they're going to go after, So
Exactly.
you got to do that.
That happened in
Right?
a couple of states.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because
I was a lottery agent, as you know, and we used to get bulletin. There was a newsletter.
Lottery agent,
Yeah,
man.
secret lottery agent.
Right. We're not talking. We're not
Well, we
talking
would
chump
get,
change.
well, it was just like, I'm sure in the elevator business where there was like an industry newspaper, and it would like give you highlights of what's happening in the country, in the industry. Well, we would get the same thing. And a lot of states, in New Jersey at one time, it was mandatory. They had the right to use your name and likeness to promote the lottery.
Thanks.
Then some other, well, it's
Jersey.
not like that anymore, because in some state, I think it might have been Connecticut, they kidnapped somebody's family member. And it was because of this stupid fakakta, we're going to use your name and likeness. So I think you can do that if you want to. I don't know why anybody in this day and age would do that.
Why would you do it? Right. Every bastard in the universe is going to be coming. You're going to have women coming out of he's the father of my child. You're going to be hearing a lot of that shit. You're going to be getting that. You're going to be getting he raped me. You're going to be getting.
Well, I think
that.
before you were on the podcast, we had talked about this. Like Allen Iverson bought cars from one of the dealerships that I worked at, and he had a guy there.
Yeah, right.
Part of his entourage.
Yeah.
And that was his whole job, was just to document everything that
everything
he
he
did,
does.
because
You're
people
gonna
would
have
make
to.
shit up. Because like that guy, Baba Booey, had an impersonator,
Yeah.
and he said he was sexually assaulted him. And they got to have people just to document their every. And you don't really, as regular people that we are, we don't really
Think about that.
Really, yeah. Why would you need that? But it's an issue.
Yeah, the chat's kind of fired up. Brian Tulip's in here. He said that
Hey, Brian, what's up?
I would streak the stage and tell everyone to go bleep off. I am Dutch, so they all know They're not getting shit.
That's right. No one's cheaper than the Dutch.
Is that true?
Really?
Or maybe the Scottish. The Scottish could give them a run for their money.
How about that?
That's why that
I never knew that.
Emily Prokop, like from the story behind it. The reason it was called Scotch tape was because they used to use adhesive on both sides of the tape, but whoever the guy was that owned the company, he only put adhesive on one side, and he was Scottish. So they nicknamed it Scotch tape.
Oh, wow.
That's how it got the name.
How about that? I never knew that. A woman who had just given birth to her third daughter was reportedly cut in half at a Spanish hospital Sunday when her stretcher became stuck between floors inside an elevator.
Damn.
She was being transported between the second and third floors of the hospital when the incident occurred.
Nunez's stretcher was pushed onto an elevator, which suddenly moved upwards before the stretcher was fully inside, trapping Nunez, whose head was reportedly stuck between the roof and the elevator frame.
Oh, God.
Firefighters needed about 2 hours to reach Nunez's body, according to local reports.
Yep.
So she had just given birth by C-section. The baby was moved to the maternity ward, and she was being taken to her room when this happened. So, I mean, it's a horrible story, and we're not trying to make fun of it. This is a real tragedy. But the reason I put this up here, I wanted to ask you, was all the years you were in them, how does something like that occur?
Well, there's one of two things that could have happened. All right. One is the brake slipped. All right. Because the brake, when the elevator stops, there's a brake that applies. Mm-hmm. Or the second thing that could have happened was that they put a jumper on every elevator. There is a safety circuit. Okay. So if certain things happen, the elevator can't move. It shuts off. It's like a safety. It's just almost like an emergency brake. Cuts the power to the system that makes the elevator run. One of the things in the system is the elevator car door, which is separate from the elevator hatch doors. So the hatch doors are all series. So if you open one hatch door, that elevator shuts down. Mm-hmm. If the hatch doors are closed and you open up the car door, the elevator shuts down. If you're a smart ass and you're inside the elevator when it's running and you take and push the top open like you think you're going up on top of the elevator, there's a safety switch on top of that. That stops the elevator. There's a button on top of the car for a service repair guy to get on there. He can turn on the stop button and break the safety circuit if he's working on the car. There's one in the pit. If the car goes below floor, there's a switch that if it goes down too far, it opens up the safety circuit. Also, if it goes up into the overhead too far, it opens up the safety circuit. I think what happened was somebody left a jumper on because there's sometimes when, especially in hospitals, they knock the doors off of the elevators all the time. The doors start to open and they're trying to get there real quick with a gurney, usually a food cart. Mm-hmm. The doors start to close and they can't stop the food cart, which is full of food. Yeah. It rams into the doors and knocks the doors off. Well, you come there as an elevator mechanic, you've got to move the car to fix the damage. You can't really fix the damage the way the car is. So what you'll do is you'll go upstairs and you'll take a wire, when I mean an electrical wire, and you'll jump out the circuit. Mm-hmm. So the car will run with the doors open. Once you do that, you have to go back upstairs, take that off.
To the mechanical room?
The mechanical room. Now, when we did that, there was a rule. This is hard and steadfast. You never jump out the car doors and the hatch doors at the same time. If you have...
Oh, you'd have an open pit.
Because, no. What happens is, let's say I decide to go and I have to fix doors and I jump out the hatch doors, okay? And then me, with my sieve memory... I was like, oh, shit, I got to go do something. I forget to go take the jumper off the hatch doors. The car door still has a safety circuit. So as long as the car door has a safety circuit, the car will not move. Mm-hmm. It'll open up the doors, and it's not – I'm not saying this is good, but it's a second fail-safe, okay? You never jump the car doors and the hatch doors out. That's number one. So what happened was I think that they jumped the car doors and the hatch doors out. The car got in there.
Somewhere else in the hospital.
The car got a demand. It says, okay, the doors are shut and locked because the circuits jumped out, and it took off, and she was halfway in, and it just took off. And once that happens, man, you can't stop it. There's so much power and pressure and everything.
How many horsepower is there that runs an elevator?
I mean, some of them it can be like 40 horsepower. It depends on the weight and everything up. But the horsepower is not, it's the torque that they have.
That's what I mean, because there'll be a ratio of horsepower to torque like a car.
That would be a torque
So I'm going to tell you a story about what happened in Philadelphia, and one of the reasons why the door safety circuit and hatch circuit, the hatch doors and the car doors are not supposed to be jumped out at the same time. So I worked for the Evil Empire Otis Elevator. Well, at the time I wasn't working for them, but I ended my career there, the Evil Empire Otis Elevator. And what Otis Elevator did was they used to take, instead of putting mechanics in, like when people would take vacation, what they would do is they would bring up these guys that were temporary mechanic. They would take a helper and they would make him a temporary mechanic. And then they would have him run a route, do fixed shutdowns.
And the union was good with that?
Well, what happened was the union's like, okay, well, usually it's not a new helper. It's usually somebody that's been there. It's like 4th or 5th year helper.
They're about to become a mechanic.
Right. And they've already done all their courses and
prerequisites.
Right. So they're waiting to take their test, and usually so they can bring them up or whatever. So there's a couple guys that that are ready to be mechanics, but so what they would do is they'd make them temporary mechanics, and they would bring them up, and then he would run calls. But usually what happens is in the union, especially the elevator union in Philadelphia where I worked, the guys were very protective of the other guys. In other words, if you were in trouble, even if the company was like, you know what, don't go over there and help him, you got your own work to do. And we would sneak away and go over and help the other guy out, because it's very hard to be out, on an island trying to fix something that you can't do, you can't get to, or something like that. You need 2 people and you can't get somebody. So there was an elevator that was broken, stuck or something in one of the office buildings in Philadelphia. So the kid goes running in, does whatever. He jumps out the hatch doors and the car doors. He fixes the problem. He forgets to take the jumper off. He goes down. He leaves the building. There is a woman that gets in the car at the lobby. She hits the button to go up. The car thinks that the elevator doors are shut. Another guy starts to walk in. He gets halfway in. The door takes off. It catches him underneath the arm and pulls him up the hoistway. Hoistway.
Oh, shit.
Cuts his head off. His body falls in the pit. His severed head is rolling around in the car with the lady. She's screaming like a fucking banshee, right? All the shit, they don't know what's going on. The door slams. So this lady's screaming. The door opens up. The head's in there. All of a sudden, it gets demand again. It takes off again.
With the head in
With
it.
the head and her in it. They don't know what. So now they have a stop button or something, and they stop the car. They get her out and everything. They go, now everybody's there. The police, labor union, the union people, Department of Labor, everybody's in there. And they found out that the guy jumped the hatch door and the car door. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they strapped this kid. He's probably a guy, but he was a kid in the elevator business. And they gave him all these calls to do. And they didn't give him anybody to help him. And what happened was he ended up going out of the elevator business. They basically said, listen, we're going to pay you what you would make in the elevator business if you never come into the elevator business again. And they paid him off because he had because of what they did to him. And they got the ball suit off him by the person who was in the car with the head, and the headless guy's family got sued the shit out of him too. But elevators are dangerous when they're not properly maintained and everything. But to me, I don't even ride escalators because you have no idea what's going on. And if one of those steps breaks when you're standing on it and you fall inside that thing,
no, you're done.
Oh, yeah, you're
done.
Hamburger. Yeah, I was just going to say that. You're a hamburger.
So I can't stand escalators.
My younger brother, we used to hang out at the mall and everything. He was terrified of escalators.
With good
he was
reason.
A kid. Yeah,
right, but we were coming off one and his shoelace got caught in the damn thing. He was freaking the fuck out. We had to cut him. It's like, rip the shoelace. I mean, it was no big deal, but he was like,
people get their coats would get caught in there.
Belts on raincoat. I saw a guy with a belt on a raincoat, and he, how people they walk around.
Yeah, now they have
hanging.
Right now they have a stop button.
Caught.
Now they have a stop. It used to be underneath the handrail.
The handrail.
Yeah, right.
Now they made them up so anybody can grab it, open it up, and stop the escalator.
Yeah, stop. Yeah.
Brian says, you know how copper wire was invented? 2 Dutchmen fighting over a penny.
Well, you got it back.
There you go.
Yeah, you're a big boy now, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well,
hey, Doug from Who's Rights here.
Hey, Doug, what's up?
Hold on, we have to give him a 5-minute plug, or he'll leave.
Well, I have to say, I did enjoy the last podcast. I think him and Anthony held their own against you. They made some very valid points. Yeah.
What do you mean?
He's all bitter and angry. Of course you do.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I think they made some pretty valid points.
I understand what they did. I just don't agree with why they did. I don't agree with. Again, if you want to listen to what happened, I guess I got to talk about this now.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do because I brought it up. Who's Right with Doug and Anthony? They're part of the Hush Your Face network.
Hush Your Face.
They had the Hush Your Face promo, the one that we just played. And
you know what's really fun? Not to stop you, but he only did the 2 W's.
And we're back.
He only did the 2. Doug only did the 2 W's.
Right.
And ironically, the very first one that Jason made only had 2 W's in it also because it went with that beat.
Exactly. So what happened was for the better part of the whole episode, they ripped the shit out of the promo for the thing. And me being friends with Jason from 3 is Comedy. Oh, by the way, Doug, if you check your reviews, Mindy from 3 is Comedy left you a 1-star review. Anyhow, they ripped it, and then they needed somebody to come on, and then I came on, and then we had at it. So if you want to check that out, the latest episode of Who's Right, I'm a guest on there, and we went on. You're right. They did hold their own, and I really did. I gave it more to Anthony than I did to Doug. To be honest with you, I like Doug more than I like Anthony.
You're a hater, that's why.
A little bit sometimes.
Yeah, you're a hater.
But no, me and Doug are. We seem to have.
Oh, you're in simpatico.
Yeah, we are kind of, sort of, but
kind of
not much with Anthony. Now, Anthony's not a bad guy. He's just I don't know. If Anthony, if they found out he was a serial killer,
here's your shovel.
It wouldn't even surprise me.
Here's your shovel. Keep digging.
I'm just telling you how I feel. There's something about him that ain't right. I don't know what it is. Who's right? It certainly ain't Anthony. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If he ever, ended up snapping one day and like killing a bunch of people,
he's coming after you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he had to come find me. But anyhow,
I don't know.
It wouldn't shock me.
That tirade you went on against the Jimmy earlier today. I mean, if you ever lost it and killed Jimmy, speaking about the Jimmy, did you see the video that Jimmy was shooting about the gutter cleaning?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, this was the best because I was like, so I'm like clicking on it. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like the Super Friends because John's face pops on like with this look of glee, like he's Lex Luthor, like, aha, Superman, there's nothing you can do. It's just like,
I'm sitting there.
I mean, it was like pure full blown out.
So
now that Jimmy's trying to conduct a sales call on a gutter cleaning, and John's in there breaking his balls, and it's like picture in picture, like with this look of glee. It's like,
so what happened was,
it's the funniest fucking thing you'll ever see.
I'm sitting there, and it says that Jimmy started a live video. I'm like, I got to see this. I think what he did was he put my name in there, which he tagged me in it, and when he tagged me in it, Facebook Live said, "Would you like to join?" Fucking A, right? I want to join.
Of course. How could John say no?
How can you say no? I clicked the button. The next thing I know, boop, my head is right in the middle, like off to the side of the screen.
Dominating the whole thing. Like
I'm going up the ladder.
And his face lights up. It's like
Jimmy's going up the ladder. It was hysterical. Oh my God, it was so funny.
I was waiting for the appropriate Jimmy discussion before.
That's on our private page, isn't it?
No, it's on the Jimmy's live page.
Yeah,
okay. You can go see it now.
It's just out there on Facebook.
All right, okay.
It just said to me.
I saw it when it was on there, but I couldn't see the whole thing.
But I'm sitting there, all of a sudden it says, "Would you like to join the Facebook Live?" Fucking right I do.
Absolutely.
How do I do this? Click here, and the next thing I know, I'm on. And then he's like, "Oh, look, here's
suddenly became the John Show, like everything."
Why wouldn't it be? He's showing everybody how to clean gutters. Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, come on. That needs spicing up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He had this thing. It looked like a dog's dick, the big red tip on the end of it. This was growing in the gutter.
Oh, that 2-foot weed?
Yeah, the 2-foot weed.
Actually, there's a couple of houses that I know of.
They have 2-foot weeds in the gutter?
Like he was saying, they were like trees. There's some kind of arborvitae growing out of one tree that I drive by every day at work. And every day I'm hoping against hope that it's the day that the homeowner out of the gutter. I'm sorry. And I'm like always hoping that today's the day that the owner got on that. Never does. I'm waiting for Christmas to come and he just fucking throws Christmas lights in.
I got to get a picture. Not? There's a house in Gibbsboro. I got to get a picture of it. It looks like a psychopath. I mean, there's trees growing out of the roof shingles and all that. I got to get.
Is it occupied?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Usually you see that show in an abandoned house.
Yeah, well, there's like a Toyota SUV in the driveway. It looks like a fairly new. But this house, it's just like. I was like, How do you let trees grow out of your gutters?
It's like Maribold Avenue.
You're just like the Jimmy. The Jimmy notices everything. Anything that happens
Well,
to Jimmy's right up
Shannon
on it.
Doherty's fucking crooked eyes.
That is true. That is true.
20 years ago.
But he does. He notices everything. Nothing gets by
Well,
him.
that's his business.
No. I'm talking about in life. Anything that happens.
Well, then
if I move my truck, he notices.
Well, he's like the fucking Rain Man.
If I don't move my truck.
Inspector Faraday, his
The
mom
day-
would say.
The day I hurt my back and I really couldn't, I was like Johnny Walker fat. I was using a walker to get around. I really couldn't even move, couldn't get out. I was just barely making it to the, when my back goes out, it's horrible. So anyhow, for 4 days, I never left the house. I basically just slept and took pain pills and slept and went to the bathroom. That's all I did. And he calls me up and goes, your truck hasn't moved in 4 days. Who the fuck notices that?
The Jimmy.
The Jimmy notices that.
I notice shit like that.
You're like the Jimmy in that respect.
He's a very, very clever man then.
Yes.
My
Right.
mother called my father Inspector Faraday.
My father noticed everything.
Noticed everything.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't
Stayed
notice,
in the ceiling, he'd find it.
I don't notice shit.
Hey, Troy, why did you move this thing over a quarter inch? Well, it's
Big hole in the wall.
Jesus Christ. Oh, goddamn kids. Oh, son of a- His fucking house.
Yeah, I don't notice that.
Remember Bob Vila's This Old House?
Yeah.
Yes.
Me and Joe did a thing when we were kids. It was like if my father had a show, it'd be this fucking
This
house.
fucking house. Yeah.
Yeah. See this over here? This used to be an antique chest or whatever. Yeah, the kids ruined it. They spilled water on it. This fucking house.
Did you see my hammer? Why would I know where your hammer is? I don't know.
I laid it right here.
Jeez, I did this fucking house.
This fucking house.
Oh, you guys tortured him. The best story I love is when you took his lawnmower
Yeah.
and you painted it fucking silver with
No,
he painted it silver. And it was on a Sunday.
in stereo.
Yeah, it was on a Sunday, and Joe said, "Yeah, he painted the lawnmower silver. We should
paint flames
bright
on it."
orange flames on it." Kmart was going to close like in 20 minutes. We
ran out to
We broke
Kmart.
the sound barrier. We broke neon orange spray paint. We came back. We half-assed mashed off some flames, and we put a flame job on this fucking lawnmower.
Right.
You know.
He got all pissed. When the neighbors were starting to say, hey, look at looking at these goddamn kids.
That's my
I just
goddamn
painted
kid's
it. It looked
idea.
nice.
Yeah.
Looked nice. It was all silver. These goddamn kids painted flames on my lawn.
Because it was like starting to get beat up, looking at his rust, and so he got silver Rust-Oleum. But
Hey, I'll tell you what,
we
he-
jazzed it up for him.
he got like 30 years out of that lawnmower.
Do you
bet
got
you he
pictures of that lawnmower with
Yeah,
the
There
flame
is a
job?
picture
Yeah,
of
I
him
got it.
pushing it.
Yeah.
I got pictures of the lawnmower.
I think we have. He just has the lawnmower. Yeah, you should throw that on the Brand X page.
Yeah,
Well, I guess maybe we can put it on. Yeah, that would be fun. We could do that.
the famous lawnmower. But
All
he,
right.
he got like 30 years out of that lawnmower.
Changing the subject now.
Joe got an iPhone. How about that? Joe's a big boy now.
Yep. Yeah, I did. I finally got the iPhone, you know.
He came over. When was that? Sunday?
Yeah, it
Saturday?
was Sunday.
It was Sunday.
you know?
Comes over and says, like, I'd rather have you here with me so we can get this thing straightened out. And we did. We had issues with it trying to get it.
Yeah. I would, it would have taken me
What did you
the whole
get?
day. What's that?
What model did you get?
the success.
Six
Okay.
S. You know.
Success.
So the only thing we couldn't get done was he couldn't make phone calls. We had.
Well, that's a huge issue. With
Yeah, that was.
Well, he had to call the provider and have to
Yeah.
switch over.
Yeah,
That was the only thing I couldn't do. But we had him texting. We had things set up. Showed him how to do the app, how to get an app. Showed him how to move apps around.
Yeah.
And I said, there you go. Let's see what happens. So, Joe, let's have an iPhone update. What have
Right.
you done?
Well, I've done. I learned how to. Well, let me get out of this.
Did you
I learned
subscribe
how
to
it
our
works.
podcast?
What's that? Yeah,
Did you
I did.
subscribe to our podcast?
No, we
need
did
to
not.
Download.
I subscribed to our podcast.
John did. Jackass did.
That's
Yeah,
right.
John did. But I got to play with. Now, what guy hasn't done this? Hey Siri,
There goes my phone.
what time is it? There we go.
You
Who
know
hasn't
what?
done
I've
that?
never used. I've had mine 2 years. I've never asked Siri shit.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little. I was having fun. Like, lunchtime at work now. That's all I'm doing is fucking around with this thing.
See?
And I like it and all, but
But
I'm not fucking around with it because I like it so much. I'm fucking around with it because it has to be configured, and that just takes all kinds of, you just start, okay, I want this way, I want this that way.
Yeah, it's like anything else.
I got iTunes on my home computer, so now I want, I fuck these ringtones. I want my own ringtones. I'm going to be doing that.
You're going to make it your own ringtones?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get one like this?
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy.
No, sure. Absolutely.
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. What do you do?
Speaking of the Jimmy, I'm sorry, before we get into that, so how have you mastered it yet, or you feel comfortable?
No. Yeah, I feel comfortable with it. I've been doing a lot of shit with it. I tied it to all my email accounts.
Oh, look at you.
And, there's things I still got to figure out how to do. And
you'll like it a lot better when jacket season comes and you have a coat pocket to put those oversized, cumbersome things.
Well,
That's why
I just bought one of those
clip things.
Yeah, the clip things. And this one is cool because not only does it have that, but
it has a phaser.
Yeah, that would be great.
And we're back.
And we're back.
But it also has like a backup battery in case I run out of juice. You can charge it up and run it off that for a little while. You get another few hours off of that because versus my old phone, this thing does gobble up.
Yes, it will do.
Yeah,
that.
they are energy vampires.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm used to the flip phone where I would charge it and it lasted a week.
Well, yeah,
right.
that's what I was.
Yeah, you better might as well just figure out you got to get a car charger, and you're always constantly plugging this thing in, no matter where you are.
Right. Well,
so that's one thing you have to do.
Yeah, and I bring my charger with me to work, and while I'm typing away on the computer,
you will be
making our warships more indestructible.
That's good.
I have the iPhone charging, so
there you go.
The country's being made safer. And I'm being made happier with my new iPhone.
Great. So while you were having fun with your iPhone,
it's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do?
He calls me.
Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you
this time he almost broke me. I mean, I was screaming and spitting into the end of my phone. Wow. All right. So what happens is normally when the Jimmy calls, it's like I'm in the middle of something, the phone rings. So then I'm like, oh, okay. So I pick it up. And I go, hey, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what's up?
You know these fucking things? Yeah, I'll tell you right now. You tell me to put the mail on here, and I can't even answer the email.
Oh, all right, Jimmy, what's going on?
I got an email from a bunch of people, and I got to send it back to them. And I open it up, and I can't even reply to it.
Oh, okay, Jimmy. Well, all right, open up your mail and go to the bottom, and it says reply. All right, then you can reply to all, reply. I'm doing it. I said, well, do you have Gmail or are you using that? If you're using the mail app that comes with the iPhone, I don't use that because it's a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, apparently no one told the Jimmy this, so that's what he uses because he takes his big sausage fingers and he just tries to poke through the screen. So that's not working. So now everything's his fault.
Yeah, it's the most powerful computer you have in your hand. It's better than one on your phone.
So he's screaming. So I'm like,
he's having a seizure.
Right, he's having a seizure. His tongue's hanging out, and I'm trying to walk him through this, and I'm getting more and more aggravated because he won't shut the fuck up and let me talk. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to tell him this, and he's babbling. I'm like, shut the fuck up and listen to me, or take that goddamn phone over to a 10-year-old and have him fucking fix it because a 10-year-old can fix it, but you stupid motherfucker, you can't even answer your own fucking email.
You shouldn't mince words with Jimmy because he doesn't.
Oh, he calmed right down, and he said,
"Yeah,
you don't have to get upset about it."
Yeah. I think from now on, you should take the kid gloves off and just go right for the throat with him.
So then I'm trying to tell him how to. So it's not bad enough. Now I got to get him to download Gmail and sign into the Gmail on his iPhone. Right. So we get through that. He finally was able to reply to his email. So then we start talking about podcasting, and he has the Apple podcasting app. Mm-hmm. So he's got a couple shows on there that he doesn't listen to anymore, so he wants to delete them. So I was like, well, you just can't delete them because they'll pop up because you're subscribed to them. So you got to go in and unsubscribe first. So so now I have my iPhone out, and I'm on the phone, and I'm going through how to do this. And he's like, that's not there. Jimmy, your iPhone and my iPhone are different. They're the same. Everything's the same. It's not like, we'll give John this app and you the other app.
John's running iOS 10. Jimmy's on.
So I said, when was the last time you did the updates for your phone?
He had about 72 updates.
I don't do that. I don't do those updates. I'm like, motherfucker. He goes, oh, that's the problem. He goes, I got a 57 Chevy and you've got a brand new Bel Air. Yeah. So what happens, I said, go home and just go and do all the updates for your phone.
That probably took all night.
I don't know. I was done.
If he never did it,
I can't imagine.
God only knows how many updates.
Honestly, I think if what happens is if you go in, and I'm not 100% sure on this, and go to the latest one, it'll back up all the other ones. It'll get the latest update will go over. All you need is the latest one.
And all the apps that you get on, and I don't know how many, I'm sure you have way more apps than I do. But I'm always surprised. Like I'll be, let me go check the updates. And it'd be like 3. Oh, okay.
And you click it.
And it updates them, no problem.
Then it's 10.
And then like 2 or 3 days later, there's like, one time there was like 11 or 12.
Well,
I was like, oh my God, what could have happened in 3 days?
Apple makes an update.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got 4
and
already.
then what happens is once Apple makes an update, all these other people
have to reconfigure
because something broke on their end. And they start getting, and then they fix it, and then they send an update out. So that's what happens. But son of a bitch with him and his, screaming and yelling at me,
the worst
this doesn't work, and he's not paying attention, and he's still talking. Like, shut up, shut your fucking trap.
The worst update is Facebook, which seems like every other day they update.
They do it once a week.
Yeah.
Messenger,
it's
Facebook
crazy.
pages, once a week they update.
And they take the longest.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, if you're connected to your Wi-Fi hotspot, it's not an issue.
Right.
It'll take, not long, but longer than, say, the Weather Channel update. Okay? But, like, if you're out and you don't have a Wi-Fi, you might as well just throw the phone in the river and buy a new one because it's just like you're not going to get it.
Well, funny you mention that because I got an email from Verizon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already starting to say, well, if you really want the high speed, we have a new plan that's going to cost you $20 more. They're not making it faster. They're throttling you back.
Yeah.
If you want your old speed, now it's going to cost you $20 a month.
Right.
Wonder where they got that from.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, I know. So anyhow,
I know. What are you talking about?
Well, now that this whole net neutrality thing's over, now they're throttling back speeds that they weren't going to do. So what happens is now they're tiering their plans.
Actually, no, Verizon, they kind of got themselves into trouble. They were calling DSL high-speed internet. The definition for
I think they changed. I think you're right. They changed it. The government changed they mandated what you can, like the FTC or the FCC. They will.
My
make
buddy
the
works for
parameters.
Verizon. He told me all about this.
They will set the
said
parameters.
What happens was Verizon was calling DSL high-speed internet when it was way below
high-speed
the government definition of high speed. So what did Verizon have to do?
Yeah, DSL was nowhere near what Comcast gives you.
Yeah. They had to bump up and say, well, for $15 more, we'll double your speed, and they're calling that high-speed internet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was ready to blow a gasket, but then I got an email today saying that since I'm a trusted Verizon customer,
you only just got them like a month and a half ago, right?
What I have is unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens? They said we're going to keep your speed the way it is, so we'll see how long that lasts.
Mm-hmm.
But it started. It started already now with them fucking around with the speeds and everything and trying to make more money. Here's the other thing, that Verizon was the very last carrier to go to unlimited data. And I think what happened is it's just too much for their system. I think everybody's now, because I know I used to pay for, I think it was like 12 gigabytes between me and my 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were right at the edge every time. And we were very diligent about watching it, so we didn't go over. They made sure that they were always on Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But now it's unlimited. No one cares. I take my phone and use it as a hotspot. I go out wherever I want. I take my computer or my iPad and I hook it right to the internet, through that. And I'm using data. I'm just, it's like being at a data buffet.
I think there's a lot of competition out there, but I think Verizon's finding that the lower cost of their competitors isn't affecting them because they still have the best coverage.
All right, listen, let's take a break.
And we're back.
What we're going to do is we're going to do the Hush Your Face promo. I want to dedicate this once again to Doug and Anthony from Who's Right because they love this promo.
Hush Your Face is coming straight to your ears. A podcast network that's changing gears, bringing fresh, funky pods with a fresh, funky beat. A family of pods that are bringing the heat. There ain't no stopping us. Keep coming back to us, sick-ass pods that'll make you hush. www. Hush Your Face. www. Hush Your Face. www.hushyourface.com.
James Woods is one guy you really don't want to mess with. Forget that he reportedly has an IQ of 180. he aced the SATs at 1580 with a perfect 800 in the verbal portion, and forget that he won a full scholarship to MIT, where he was majoring in political science before dropping out to pursue acting, and forget that he enrolled in the UCLA linear algebra course while in high school.
So he's a smart motherfucker.
Right.
Let's get on with it.
You don't want to mess with James Wood because he hits back and he hits back hard. Last week, Woods got in a battle with an anonymous Twitterer, or so the poor sap thought. It all started when a guy at Matt Jacobs sent out a tweet to really James Woods saying, "If I see you in the street, I will hit you over the head with a 2x4. Woods didn't mince words about what was about to happen to little Matt Jacob. So James Woods tweets back, "You are not going to have to wait to see me in the street. Your life just changed forever." And then Woods let him know how things would go down. See, the difference between me and some people is that when you threaten me, I'm in your life until you die. I never stop ever. And then he put hashtag Terminator Twitter com. Woods noted that it was the second time the man threatened him, posting another tweet from the same guy. And then it says, "In your so-called next civil war, you're the first person I'm coming for." Smartly, Woods publicly pondered whether Twitter would actually take action, where he responded to Twitter, "So I've been directly threatened with violence. Let's see if @Jack and @Twitter will actually do anything if a conservative is threatened." It didn't take long for Woods to figure out who the anonymous guy was. The guy threatened to bash my head is on Twitter and then links to his Instagram account with his bike with his license plates. Hashtag idiottwitter.com, and then there's a bunch of other letters. And in case you wondered if it was just some 13-year-old punk, it wasn't. And then here's a picture of the douchebag with, he's got like a couple of days growth beard and mustache on, and he's got the sunglasses. And by the way, he is not a kid. He closed his account, so Woods reported the threatener to the police, pointing out the laws he had broken. Under California law, the elements of the completed crime of making threats with intent to terrorize are: 1, willfully threatening to commit a crime that will result in death or great bodily injury to another person; 2, specific intent that the statement be taken as a threat; 3, the threat was on its face and under the circumstances so unequivocal, unconditioned, immediate, and specific as to convey to the person threatened the gravity of purpose and immediate prospect of execution of the threat. 4, the threat caused the victim to be sustained fear for his or her own safety or for his or her immediate family's safety. And 5, the victim's fear was reasonable under the circumstances. Where he tweeted, "I have been advised to keep the light on my stalker at Matthew E. Jacob as a way of inhibiting his acting on his threat. Here is relevant California law."
And we're back.
So basically, this guy is in a shitload of trouble.
Right.
And I applaud James Woods because there's a lot of this cyberbullying going on. Because it's like we had discussed before, it's not like you can just disagree with a person.
Yeah.
Now they threaten you. And this guy came out like he's
But is he really going to? I mean, I guess, that guy knows who James Wood is and knows where he could find out where he lives.
Right,
so
sure.
And this guy has no idea James Wood has no idea who this guy is.
Right.
So it gets to be a little bit, basically.
Do you want to go through life like looking over your shoulder?
No.
For having a different opinion of this?
No, that's what's all this bullshit's going on right now with the Nazis and the white supremacists and that hate group Antifa, and them uppity goddamn feminists. I include them in there too.
I got in a big argument over. Not me, but a friend of mine. Because to me, one side is just as bad as the other.
I agree with that.
No. How can you say that?
Exactly.
That's not that. No, one side is as bad as the other. You can't. You got to own this. You're either against violence and using violence to intimidate and terrorize and all that, or you are not.
Right.
There is no this, we'll measure out which one of these two sides is actually worse, and we'll say this side's worse, so we're going to leave the other side alone.
No, you can't do that. You can't have
that.
You can't have free speech you can't free speech.
Well, you're giving the friggin' Antifa people license to.
I agree with you.
Target people, not only just to say not. Oh well, they're standing against. Don't give me this.
Doesn't matter.
Don't give me this standing against bullshit.
No,
you know
you can't use violence.
You're not only
to protest,
giving them a free pass on committing violence. You're giving them the power to judge. Hey, that guy was wearing a red hat. Let's go beat him.
I got the fix for all this. This is what I want to do. I want the white supremacists and the Nazis to have this big giant rally. Okay, then I want the Antifa to come in and protest them. I want them to get into cars.
Cage it off.
I want them to get into cars and start running into each other and killing each other. That's what I want to happen.
I want to cage it off, and I want it on pay-per-view.
Right. I mean, just sit in there, and the next thing you know, they're in there having a big argument, it's yelling and spitting on each other and banging and fighting and all that, and just give them a couple cars and let them kill each other. That's right. Take each other out. There we go. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Just let them kill each other.
I can't stand
you know what? Everybody else, stay away. Let the Antifa and the white supremacists and
Antifa,
whatever they are.
I call them infant fa because that's what they really are. They're more like a bunch of babies.
Well, both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides. Both sides are ridiculous in their thoughts.
We kicked its ass.
Over at Berkeley, you can't even have a conservative view. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't have a conservative view. And listen, I'm not 100% agree with every conservative view, but I'm not going to sit there and say they can't have they don't have a right to speak what they believe and what they feel. Same way on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it one side is allowed and the other side is not?
Because it's a bullshit double standard.
The one side decided that if you don't agree with them, if you don't agree with everybody on the left, then you're just a racist and a.
I'm glad to see that it's finally getting noticed now, but a lot of people are Johnny-come-latelys to the party because
at least we're here.
Well, no, this has been,
and we're back.
Yeah, and we're back, and this has been happening for a good since.
Occupy
the
Wall
tail
Street.
end of George W. Bush's presidency, where conservatives were being targeted on college campuses, where they were driven out from giving speeches and Condoleezza Rice. I mean, there you go. Who would be against the first African-American woman Secretary of State? These whack jobs on the extreme left.
Well, again, they can't handle it. And they just had a thing in Congress where they invited in Ben Shapiro, who I really like, and Adam Carolla and a bunch of other people, and they were talking about, all this, what's going on with free speech on college campuses. And
there is none.
Adam Carolla had a very good point. He's like, listen, we've coddled these kids. We've given them participation trophies. We've never let them go out there and exercise their muscles. We've coddled them. We've protected them and everything. And now what happens is if someone disagrees with them and they can't get their own way,
they have a tantrum.
They have a tantrum.
Stream.
Right. And again, it's on both sides because what happens now, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes when I watch what happened, and they're like, well, he's just a middle-aged white guy. I'm like, hey, I'm a middle-aged white guy. I don't believe in any of this bullshit.
That's why I don't.
Actually, you're 55, so you're a senior citizen.
Shit. Anyhow, I'm a senior.
Still a middle-aged white guy. On the other hand, it sucks to be you.
It does. I'm not going to lie. So I just say let them go in there and kill each other. Let them go in there and beat the living.
I'm actually
dog piss
scared.
Out of each other.
I don't know where this is. Well, I don't know where this is going to end. I mean, it's
they've created a false dichotomy.
They're ramping up on. I mean,
the problem is
this has been starting since the French Revolution with the Jacobins, and they love mob rule. That's what the extreme left likes. They like mob rule with the rioting and the burning and the killing. And I'm afraid it's going to come to killing.
The problem is they take and they handcuff the police in this bullshit.
Well, that's a whole nother issue. I don't know why these police officers in these certain cities are told to stand down. Right. The police want to go in there and do their job, but they're told not to.
And they're not allowed to. And as soon as they started fighting, as soon as the nonsense started, if they went in there and started taking them down and handcuffing them, and oh my God, handcuffing them and giving them and putting them in jail because they're not protesters anymore. They're rioters.
No, you show up with masks on. You're not protesting.
You're right.
You came there to commit a crime.
So Trump goes to Phoenix. And he's going to have this. The guy forgets he's president. He's still on the campaign trail. He loves it when all his people come in and yell and applaud and everything. He loves that. So he's still on the campaign trail.
Because Obama didn't.
Yeah, Obama
I don't give a shit about that. He's not even the president anymore. I'm talking about the current president. I don't give a shit what anybody did before this.
But he did the same thing.
It
That's
doesn't matter.
But he did the same thing.
Okay, he did the same thing.
But you didn't say nothing then.
I didn't even notice it.
Right, exactly. That's the point. Why do you think you're noticing it now?
Because
the press is playing it.
Okay, exactly. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
Only point I wanted to make.
Okay, so now he's there, and all the Antifa are outside, and they're having protests, and they're throwing rocks and everything. Well, they started tear gas. They started having tear gas. The police are sending tear gas canisters out into the crowd.
Oh, the guy that got hit in the
guy kicks the canister back.
You see that?
He kicks the canister back, and I don't know who it was. Whoever it is should get a fucking medal. He shot at the guy kicking the canister and hit him right square in the balls.
He went down like a sack of wheat.
Did you see who came out to rescue him?
I saw some guy help him off.
Colin Kaepernick. He had a Colin Kaepernick jersey on, and he came out.
It wasn't Colin Kaepernick, though,
it wasn't Colin Kaepernick, but he had a Colin Kaepernick jersey on.
That's a whole other issue that's out of control.
Again, it's nonsense. The stupid thing with the... you know what I would do? I'd stop playing the national anthem I would stop playing it at the games.
Well, they used to have it before.
So how's that the answer? Some people like the national anthem at the game.
Who?
Most Americans, if you poll them. Just because you don't, because you're a lefty.
I'm not a lefty.
Yes, you are.
I'm dead in the center.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Every sporting event,
I don't think if you don't want to stand up, you don't have to.
Exactly.
I do because that's what I do.
I do too.
But if you're gonna don't grandstand, just sit down. Don't do it.
Right.
You don't have to make this whole big.
I'll go back to the press part. If the press didn't make a big deal out of this, okay, and just ignored them, they'd stop because they're not.
But they won't.
No, they won't because they're like, oh look.
This is like that.
All the preseason games. Oh, look who sat down. Look at this guy. This white guy wrapped his arms around this guy because he put his arm up in the air during the national anthem. Who cares? Let's play football.
Yeah. I want to watch the fucking game.
Stop it. Enough.
Couldn't have to be that, like, Colin Kaepernick sucks.
He does suck.
He does suck.
The reason he's not a part of an NFL team is he's not good.
Well, I was reading an article. They said there's 6 teams that he could probably help. But they don't, first of all, before you jump in, because that's what you do.
Me?
Yeah, that's what you do. See, he just jumped in with the me.
Please.
There's 6 teams that he could help. Those teams don't want his help because they are looking down the road to get a good draft pick in the next NFL draft after this season ends. So why would they want to get any help? And B, you have to outweigh the negative press that this guy is going to bring to your organization doing that bullshit.
Right.
And C, as an employee of who I work for or who you work for, if you want to do that on your dime, that's fine. That's where the big disconnect is in on this Colin Kaepernick shit. He's wearing that uniform. He's on his employer's dime, and that's what the issue was. And he sucks.
I agree. And again, why am I going to have my second-string quarterback cause all this bullshit on my team?
Right.
Yeah.
Why am I going to have that? I don't need that. There's all these other guys out there dying to do this, and you know what they'll do? They'll stand during the national anthem, and they won't cause a problem.
Because there's a time, that's what a lot of these people that are a bunch of Kaepernick supporters descended on NFL headquarters yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before.
Yeah.
And it's like, the disconnect is like, oh, he's exercising his free speech. Yes, he is. And the NFL owners are exercising their free speech by saying, we don't want that here. We don't want that attention.
Nothing's stopping him from going to Canada and playing in Canada.
Yeah. Right.
There's other professional football leagues where he could go play. He ain't going to make the same bank he's going to make in the NFL, but that's okay. Let me just tell you something right now.
Go ahead.
If Tom Brady tomorrow sat down during the national anthem and just sat there and didn't do dick and decided and they wouldn't cut him and they wouldn't do anything, they wouldn't fine him, they wouldn't do nothing. You know why? Because he can play football. Because he's the greatest quarterback of all time. All right? You take a guy that can actually play, Fletcher Cox for the Eagles, or the guy,
Huey Cooper?
No. Anybody that's really good at their position. If they sat down, they would not care. Listen, Michael Vick was had dogs.
Killed
dogs. Okay,
Yeah.
They thought he could play. They brought him back.
Right.
All right. If Colin Kaepernick drowned dogs, they wouldn't even look at him again because he can't play.
Right.
The problem is he is not worth the bullshit that he's going to bring with him. The baggage he's going to bring with him isn't worth his talent rating. So why even bother?
The weird thing about Colin Kaepernick was the first couple
Why is everybody owed a job just because he can play football?
Well, no, not so much time. I mean, the first couple of seasons, like he was he was really good. But then I don't know if it's like he got complacent or the league figured him out.
The league caught up to that whole...
But he didn't advance. Most other quarterbacks...
He was a one-trick pony.
Right, exactly.
He had that whole read option, the read option offense. Everybody caught up and figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it wasn't effective anymore.
Right.
Which meant he's not effective anymore.
Right. He's dead wood now.
Right. He's he was horrible.
And he
year.
was the one that opted out of the contract.
Right, because he thought
that's what people forget. He walked away from San Francisco. San Francisco didn't walk away from him.
Right.
He walked away thinking that teams were going to snap him up. Well, see, that's getting lost in the translation. When you watch the media, they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that he walked away from the 49ers.
Now he can't get a job.
Right. He's fucked.
But for some reason, he is entitled to play football.
Because he's better than... I don't know, 7 or 8 backup quarterbacks?
Maybe.
But guess what? He brings a lot of baggage.
Mm-hmm. That's just it.
And now he
and if that hurts
doesn't have a job.
If that hurts the bot, it's a business.
Yeah, and you're an employee.
Whether you like it or not, it's entertainment, but it's a business. And if that's going to hurt that team owner's bottom line with that extra baggage, they don't need that. They're not going to sign on for that.
The NFL is a license to print money. Okay, they're just a money-making machine.
I would like to have 1/1000th of 1% of what they make.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm saying is, thanks for not interrupting me in the middle of my sentence.
I would never do that.
I understand that. So what I'm saying is
and we're back.
Oh, my God. So... Now I forget what the fuck. See, that's why you can't do this to me. Okay? I could do that to you because you have a memory. But you do that to me, and I lose complete track of what I was saying.
Right off the fucking rails.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
The Browns don't want... Daryl says the Browns want him. The Browns don't want him either. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. And then here's the other thing. I know. Stop. I know what I was going to say. So what happens is now the bunch of people are going to boycott the NFL until he gets a job. Well, guess what? Last year, a bunch of people boycotted the NFL because he was sitting down. Mm-hmm. NFL ratings went down.
It was like 27%.
And the NFL owners lost their shit. They never had that happen before.
Right. It was like the lowest ratings in like 15 years or something.
So they're screwed. They don't know what to do with this guy. You know what? I'll tell you what. You know something?
Kick him to the
Daryl,
curb.
he might be blind, but he's right. I'll get to that story in a second. I would put him on the Browns as a second-string quarterback, and I'd say, listen, you put him on your team, okay? And put him third-string quarterback and pay him and have him shut his mouth. What do we care? You know, we burned $10 million like it's nothing, all right? Give the asshole $10 million for the season. Let him sit there. Let him sit on his ass. Let everybody come back and start watching. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, we just fade him out. We bring somebody else in. Everybody forgets about him. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's it. But no, they're making this big contract.
The problem is the media, like you said.
The media's
focus on
so
them.
So now nobody the season's going to start, and these teams are starting to they want to be focused on the team that they're going to be playing, not the third string quarterback, because as soon as I don't care where he goes. Let's say whatever team he goes, pick a team, the Browns.
Dallas.
He goes to Dallas, and we're back. He goes to Dallas, and he's sitting there, and all of a sudden, all the fucking media trucks show up. They want to see what he's doing. What's he doing? Yeah. He's standing behind the second string quarterback, throwing a ball once out of 4 times. That's what he's doing.
For the record, Jerry Jones won't take him because Jerry Jones said, if you don't stand for the national anthem, your ass is
You're
fired.
going like Mr. Spacely. You're
right.
So I give credit to Jerry Jones for that.
Oh, please, that fucking asshole.
He's actually a good American.
Oh,
John.
stop
I don't know why you
goddamn
feel
Skeletor.
Skeletor.
Wow.
Cowboy.
He-Man on our ass.
Cowboy scum. Cowboy scum.
This is the end for you, He-Man.
That's right.
Skeletor. Jesus.
I digress.
In a big way.
So, there we go. Hey, look, we talked about politics, and Deuce is still here, and we're back. And there's more.
Well, you let me speak this time, unlike the last time. And another thing. Fuck you.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We do talk over each other a ton, way too much. So,
you know what it is? It's the Kaminsky's effect.
I'm sure it is.
Because that's what it is from all those years of drinking in a loud bar.
Right. Whoever was the loudest got the story out. All right, so let me tell you something, because Daryl, I hope his name's Daryl. Yeah, Daryl Smith. He's one of the Bro-Rons.
Mm-hmm.
So remember when I told you he made this crazy video with him being a blind guy?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Guess what? He's blind. Now, do I feel like shit or what?
Well, you should.
I didn't realize he was really blind. He's like legally blind. I'm like, how the hell do you podcast and being blind? He's like, well, it doesn't stop me from talking. I'm like,
Braille's his way through life.
How about him?
And that's a reference to Toe on the Trigger. Mm-hmm. That was the last episode 99. It was Braille your way through life.
I guess. So anyhow,
I listened to his 100th episode today.
Yes,
and
so did I.
That was awesome. They finished up with the Thunderbird.
Yeah,
of all the bad lines, and
you could hear every time she was drinking.
They were feeling it like immediately. Like I had never drank Thunder. I've had MD 2020 back in my high school days, and I did have the Wild Irish Rose. I never did do the Thunderbird.
What's the word? Thunderbird.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Now I fear
What's
it.
What's the price? 55 twice. What's the occasion? We're not Caucasian. There we go.
I fear Thunderbird now. I'm never ever going to put that to my lips ever.
So sorry, Darryl. I didn't realize you were really blind. And so I'm sorry making fun of your blind bit.
He's laughing. I don't know if he's laughing about this or if he's laughing at you because you were an idiot.
I didn't know the guy was blind. Who knew?
Hey, look. Well, aren't you the guy who made two stuttering guys fight with each other?
Yes, I did do that. Yes, I did. And that was funny. One guy.
We got to start referencing what episode we talk about.
I can't remember.
That was an early episode.
Right.
That might have been like episode 8. I'm just pulling a number out of my ass.
Right.
But it was like way, way back in the day.
So I get actually it was an instant message on Twitter. Remember the girl that was on Robin Slim? She was the sex phone operator. Her name was Ryder Doll.
Yeah, okay.
She wanted to come on the show. She's like, hey, I would love to be a guest on your podcast. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you really want to be a guest on our podcast. But I thought to myself that...
Why not?
Well, here's a couple reasons.
Here's the thing.
We can't... See, we talk over each other. So how are we going to have a conversation with her?
Well, what does she want to do? It through cast or come down here? Because
I ain't bringing her down here.
Well, I don't know how far.
Why not?
She is.
She's probably in no.
Well, they're in New Jersey.
I don't know. You know what? I think she was on Skype and.
You said she's a sex phone operator.
She does phone sex.
I want you to bring her down here immediately.
you want her on the show? Want to book her? We've never really booked a guest before.
I don't know how to book them.
But if we booked a guest, let's say we had a guest on here.
Well, it's going to
somebody would have to interview her.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be me?
Well, yeah, because you're the self-centered, narcissistic son of a bitch.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I knew you would be. I knew I wouldn't offend you by saying that. So,
all right. So
30 years is a long time to know somebody, so pretty safe.
I actually. After she...
Well, how long ago did this happen that she approached you?
It was just a couple days ago.
Oh, okay.
Let me go to the Twitter.
If
I take it real quick.
Go to the Twitter.
I'll read you what she said.
Now, Emily says, no interviews. Just invite them on as a co-host.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was almost ready to do another podcast without you guys, without you two.
I see how it is.
As more of an interview thing. Well, only because it was the only way to be able to bring...
Yeah, we suck.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. Look, he's all butthurt already.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's inferred.
Okay.
It's inferred.
Would you want me? Here's what she
all right.
says.
We can do the Deuce and Joe show. We've been doing it for 52 fucking years.
That's true. Sometimes I have a hard time
we
getting
can speak French all we fucking want.
Sometimes I'm like, I just lost control. I can't even get it back. Thank God you came up with "and we're back" because that's the only thing that gets me to get you guys to stop.
And we're back. Hey, Joe, did you see?
First of all, Ryder Doll says, hi there, reaching out to you to see if you'd be interested in having me on your podcast for an interview. Rob from the Rob and Slim Show suggested I send you a message when I told him I was looking for podcasts to reach out to. I'm a 20-year-old sex worker and college student from the Boston area.
Oh, so she's probably up
harder.
She's probably in Massachusetts.
Give it to me harder.
Harder. So she talks like Peter Griffin?
Yeah.
Family Guy?
You ever hear?
I've never heard her voice. So.
No, did you ever see Ted?
Yeah.
Hold on. I have audio. I have audio of her. Hold on.
Oh, okay, great.
Match with me.
Oh, okay.
Match with me.
Anyhow, I work through nightflirt.com and iwantphone.com. Jeez. Good thing you're not trying to find a phone. You're like, iwantphone.com. I don't think they're really going to get the service that they want. So she works as a sex
worker.
Phone
That's what she
sex
said.
provider.
Okay. She said sex worker. I was like, what?
The job leads itself to some very interesting conversations, stories, and observations about people, relationships, and life in general. I offer my clients girlfriend experiences. Oh, yeah. You talk my ear off and don't give me any sex. I don't want that. All right. Home wrecking fantasies, Financial.
Wow. So you come in with a big crane and you.
So basically, what she's going to do is she's going to treat me like my ex-wife did 3 years. 3 years before we got divorced. Financial domination and role plays of various.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with the financial domination.
And we're back. And role plays of various other fetishes and more. I'm always happy to talk about these or other topics surrounding the adult industry or sex relationships in general. I've been featured on a couple of podcasts that you can check out. Rob and Slim Show, Must Love Fetish, Girlfriend Experience Discussion. And my official website is riderdoll.com. Thanks for considering me.
Does she have a
and
picture?
then I wrote back.
Well, I'm intrigued.
Okay, I wrote back, thank you for reaching out. I did hear you on Rob and Slim. You were very entertaining. Honestly, it's hard to keep the show under control with my two co-hosts. We don't have guests. If things change and we start having guests, I'll be sure to contact you. And then she wrote back. She was very nice about it. She goes, thanks for the compliments. I had so much fun on their show, and I'm glad to translate. I'm glad it translates well to the audience. And then, if you're looking for fun guests, let me know. So I can reach out to her. We can book her.
I'm fun.
He just celebrated his 25th wedding anniversary.
Because we can't tell Diane that we have a sex worker coming on the podcast.
You know
we can't tell her that.
What?
You won't be allowed on the show. She'll make.
Oh, so if she's in Boston and I'm down here.
That's right.
What's going to happen?
You're smart enough to know. You've been married for 25 years. Every once in a while, there's a line you don't cross.
Well, I know she's a lunatic, but I mean, it's not to say that we can't have a guest on the show.
She won't be here. She'll only be on the phone.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Exactly.
All right.
I actually almost have a scenario that I want to talk her through.
Who? Diane or the sex worker? You were very cryptic.
Well, I didn't think about Diane at first, but now you mentioned it.
Come in here with the pink sombrero.
Sex worker.
Now, Emily raises a question. Wait, if it's a phone thing, is she going to expect payment?
Well, not here.
Well, if she's shit out of luck. If she thinks...
Right. The only way I could pay her.
Paid.
The only way I could pay her is if I got a nickel for every time Deuce interrupted me. I could pay
I would talk my ass off.
There's a nickel right there.
I would never stop.
Right.
You're making your money in free advertisement and free plugs.
All right. So you want to do this?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Let's do it. Let's book her. Let's see what happens.
Book her. Dano.
It might not be a bad idea.
No, because there's a lot of...
Or it could be a very bad idea. All
right, so...
You always, see that stuff, and you wonder, All
right, so let me ask you this question, because I'm going to write this down. All right. In the upcoming months or so, or in the upcoming shows, maybe we'll do, one show a month. We can make it an interview show where we can bring somebody else on and do, I don't know, we could do cross-promotion of our podcast. Mm-hmm. Who would you want to have on?
Anthony and Doug.
You want to have Anthony and Doug?
Yeah.
Do we want Doug and Anthony, or we just want Doug?
Wow, you really have an axe to grind with Anthony, don't you?
Well, I mean, if we want somebody fun and entertaining,
I find Anthony very funny.
I'm sure you do.
They're both a scream.
All right, who else? We're going to do another thing with Three is Comedy. I know we're.
Yeah, I had heard that on their when you were on the last show.
I wasn't on it. I was just in chat.
You were spreading false news. It's Mark David Chapman, not John David Chapman.
Hey, listen,
you're thinking they're all smart. Yeah, I got this.
Like Meatloaf says, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Nobody bats 1,000.
Who else? Would you want to try to get Daniel Repples on? He's that asshole.
Well, he's taking a 6 weeks hiatus. I was going to get into that when we do the shout-outs, but
yeah, I noticed he hasn't been around lately.
Well, I mean, after this, he did 100 episodes. Now he's taking a 6-week break.
He's retold. Did you take his survey?
No, not yet.
I did. I took the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, because
you know something? I should. Want to do it now?
I did mine. You have to do yours.
How do I get to it?
Click on his fucking link, jerk off.
And we're back. Where's the link at?
Mr. Techno-Bleach.
I forget where it came in. Was it on?
I did it on the Twitter.
Oh, it's on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
but you could probably go to his Facebook page or something.
You're fucking killing me. All right, here we go.
This is one of the rare instances that Deuce is Techno-Bleach.
Let's do the survey. All right, you did it already, so don't tell me your answers.
I did it. Yeah, I wouldn't say nothing.
All right, me and Joe, we can do this right now. You've never listened to the show, right?
No.
You're out. All right, here we go. Would you like to see more live shows on Toe on the Trigger? More? Has he ever had a live show? All right. Yes, I'd like to see that. Would you like to see more guests on Toe on the Trigger? Yes.
Now they're going to ask you who.
Which guests would you like to see return to the show?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Emily. Emily when him was really good. Jerry and Dave. That's how I found Jerry and Dave, actually, through that.
Who?
Jerry.
I like how you rewrite history.
All right. I found out because you told me. But the reason you found out was why?
Because of 3 is comedy.
Whatever.
3 is now, here's, because John likes to change history. 3 is comedy was on Toe on the Trigger. So I listened. Right. And then I listened to a couple episodes in. And then Dave and Jerry from Bad Cop were on. And I immediately sent John a message, and I was like, you got to listen to these two guys, as they're talking shit on Juliet Miranda on this show.
Oh.
And that's how it started.
Well, as soon as I listened to Bad Cop,
and then John tried to start a feud between Juliet Miranda and Bad Cop.
John didn't try. John started a feud.
So, well, David, the producer, even twittered back, look at you trying to start an old-time radio war. So, which you changed your history on that.
Can I go on now? Can I do my survey?
And
we're back.
Go ahead, Civ Brain.
All right. Gareth from Gareth Rambling Randoms, that show.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Gareth.
Choo Choo Stew. No.
You know, I've never listened to Choo Choo Stew.
Me neither.
I have to
Adam and Byron from Everybody Has a Podcast. Yes. Mike Jolix. No. Fear Innes from Fearcast. I really don't know him. I don't know. Afterburn 739. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, they were funny as hell.
Lorne. I stop.
Lorne. If it rhymes with born, it must be Lorne.
Lorne from Bold and Belligerent. Yes, that was a good show too. What are your thoughts on Courtney 3000? Okay. What are your thoughts on Nicole? I don't like her name spelt with a Q.
A Q?
Oh, look at you traditionalist, you.
Wouldn't that make it Nicole? Trying to be exquisite, you know.
Okay.
And we're back.
What kind of content would you just like to see more on the show? Games? No. Topical news? Yes. Challenges? Always. Discussions? As long as it's not about sex all the time. Like,
it's not all the time.
No, but it's like too much with the I got a blowjob from this girl.
Sometimes they do
banged her in the ass.
You're about to have a sex worker on the show, and you're worried.
No, it's a lot of times.
We're at episode 64. It's just not really the first time we're doing this. It's not like every episode.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll discuss his interactions with people at work,
right,
or people that he had interactions with.
Besides that guy that was on there, Mike, I think he's banged every co-host that's in studio.
I don't know that.
I don't know that either.
I think you might be living vicariously through.
I don't know about I don't think I'm living vicariously through that. What don't you like about Toe on the Trigger? I like the show. It's again a little too much sex talk. I'm going to put that down.
Too much sex talk. Well, maybe people like a lot of sex talk.
Okay. What other suggestions do you have for the show? Don't take 6 weeks off, faggot.
Well, now, wait a minute. This guy just went 2 years of probably producing a weekly podcast.
You asked, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but he has a job.
Page 2. What do you want from me? What happened? I think when I said faggot, it kicked me off. Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. And we're back.
And we're back.
Oh, your name. Oh, shit. I got to put my name here? I thought
Techno Bully.
Techno Bully. Yeah,
because I put my Twitter name on mine when I
might
did
as well
mine.
put.
And I like Courtney and
you just probably say who's calling me a faggot from
my email? Okay.
I didn't do that. I just gave my Twitter.
We're doing it on live, so I mean what's the difference? It's not like it's not gonna know.
I'm just saying I didn't do that.
I think that's right. Yeah. My Twitter? Of course. If you're on a podcast, which one are you on?
And I named it.
All right, and my Twitter.
The Twitter.
On the Twitter.
Well, I wish I could type in.
Hey, yell at Jimmy for having big sausage fingers.
I know.
Emily says, I still miss Cassie.
I don't know. All right. Thank you for your feedback. We'll see. We'll see if he thanks me for my feedback. All right. That's done.
You are the king of the left-handed compliments.
Yes, I am. All right. Let's get out of this. What do you say? Hey, listen. If you're here and you're watching this on Facebook, do us a favor.
God love
Subscribe to the podcast, will you please? Because I think we're getting a lot of interaction in Facebook, but it's not transferring into downloads. So if you're watching this, and we love that you're watching this, we do, but just do us a favor. Give us a reach around and subscribe to the show. I mean, is that too much to ask? And when you're over on Facebook, go to the page there and hit like the page. It's not that hard. It's a click, for the love of God.
And you can follow us.
You can follow us.
And you get alerts when we're on Thursday night instead of Friday because Deuce is going to Carlisle.
And you can buy our shirts. And you can
we have shirts. If you want to check out some of our merch, you go over to brandxpodcast.com/gear and check that out. And that'll be cool. And if you want to check us out on some streaming networks, we are on the Radio Vegas Rocks Network on Thursdays at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And Monday mornings, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Time.
4 o'clock, yeah. 4, what's it? 8 o'clock, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
Rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock.
Whatever.
9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. John's gonna rock around the clock tonight. John's gonna rock.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Check us out there. And also on the Hush Your Face Network. Man, there's a ton of shows over there. They're picking up new shows. And there's another show.
Yeah, it's a juggernaut.
I didn't even realize there's a show on there that I never even heard of, and I didn't even know that was on the network. How dumb am I?
Who's that?
Rob's Rambling. Rob's,
You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah, you know who it is.
No.
It's Rob from the Rob and Slim Show.
No, it's not.
No, I'm just saying that.
No, it's not him. But I've never listened to his podcast before.
Rob's Random Rob.
I've never. So, Rob, I mean, we're going to put you on here, and my apologies.
Come on, Mushmouth.
Sorry.
Say that one more time.
All right, let's get into some shout-outs.
Shout-outs. It's time for shout-outs. If you are looking for some other great podcasts to check out, and a lot of these people are really good friends of ours, so if you like us, you're going to love them. We highly recommend these podcasts. 3 is Comedy with Jason, Bob, and Mindy, part of the Hush Your Face Podcast Network.
Bad Cop with Jerry and Dave.
Who's Right with Doug and Anthony, also part of the Hush Your Face Network.
All right, now we got to talk about them for 5 minutes because they get upset if we.
Well,
don't
I think
mention
Anthony's brilliant and Doug is funny as hell, and I know John doesn't like Anthony for whatever
reason. He's okay.
reason.
He's all right.
John's a hater.
You know, it's funny the way he writes stuff. It's just
Deuce loves everyone.
You know, it's when we were talking about when I was on the show, we were talking about Jasmine Cain, the woman that blocked me.
Well, I think Doug's right about that.
I agree with him.
Yeah,
that's why.
Anthony doesn't think it's as big as a deal. I think. That was a gentleman's agreement.
And we're back. Okay, that's enough with those two. All right, who's next?
Wow, you lost your place that fast.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Our friends from across the pond, very funny show.
Wait a minute.
Is it you?
No, that's Joe. That's me. Pet and Miller Show with Matt Miller and Viva La Pedro's Hush Your Face Network.
Yeah, they're our friends from across the pond. Do a great show and really enjoy them. Like them a lot. And Mindy's become a big fan. Mindy from 3 is Comedy loves the.
Yes, she's been queuing in.
Right. Who's next?
You are.
God, why do I get this all the time? Bold and Belligerent. Great show with Lauren.
There you go. You're a big boy now.
Mike and Luke. They didn't do a show. They haven't been doing shows lately. I mean, once Lauren, has a baby now and all that kind of stuff, I guess they just can't get together.
Well, I think Luke's driving for it. He was talking about that in the last. He's driving for the Uber now.
He quit washing dishes and everything.
And he's driving for the Uber.
He's doing the Uber. And all I could think of, I wanted to do a song parody to Taxi, but it's Luke.
Taxi.
The song. I went off. I was going to be a pilot. And
that manically depressive Harry Chapin song?
Yes.
Oh, I hate that fucking song.
Well, could you imagine doing the lyrics with Luke in an Uber? He's a vapor in his Toyota Prius.
To get on like a rant like of songs that you hate, Jerry hit on like Paradise by the Dashboard Light today by
Meatloaf. He hates all Meatloaf.
Oh, dude, when I had the oldies show back in the day at DVK, I would always get a request for that fucking song. I mean, I like the song. It's not the greatest song in the world. It's not like a Hey Jude or, When the Levee Breaks.
Back in the day at DBK.
But for some reason, I would always get these group of teeny boppers that would always call in and they wanted to hear that song. I was like, I played it last week.
I know. They rolled out, what's her name that does Total Eclipse of the Heart.
And actually, they were right. Jim Steinem did write that song. Well, they said it sounds like a song that Meat Loaf wrote for her to do. Well, they're right. Jim Steinman wrote that song.
Is that who Meat Loaf is?
Well, if you ever see the cover of The Bat Out of Hell, it says with songs by Jim Steinman.
Oh.
Jim Steinman wrote all the songs on that album. Meat Loaf just sung them.
Okay.
He did write that song.
I saw Meat Loaf in concert.
Did you?
It was good.
He puts on a hell of a show.
Honestly, it wasn't really that. Was when I say it wasn't that long ago, maybe 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was before
when he had his big comeback.
I saw Meat Loaf I was a big Saturday Night Live guy back when it was the original. Not ready for prime time
when he was
players.
when they were the guest band.
They were just getting ready to break his album. And this guy comes on there, and he's a big dude, obviously. I'm like, look at this dude.
Fat shaming. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what I do.
Go ahead, Bill Maher.
I'm slim and trim.
Go ahead, Bill Maher. Go ahead.
So he gets on there, and man, that dude can sing, and he can perform.
He blew the roof off.
And then that album, that was one of those albums that wouldn't quit. Mm-hmm. Like a group will put out an album that just wants, like Boston's first album. But they were right. I mean, Jim Steinman did write that song for Bonnie Raitt.
That's it.
Bonnie the Welsh singer with the frog in her throat.
No, wait. Bonnie Raitt?
Well, somebody covered it after her. Not Bonnie Raitt.
Bonnie
Shit. I had too many.
Bonnie Shit?
Bonnie Shit wrote the
It'll come to me. Continue with the shout-outs. It'll come to me.
Okay.
Unwritable Rant with Juliet Miranda.
Who's next? Me?
Robin Slim Show with Robin Slim and Slambo, if he's still there, and Amanda.
They just had their live show last night. They were live.
I didn't get to it.
Here's the funny thing about Robin Slim. And again, I don't know much about what they're doing, but they're in studio. Mm-hmm. So they got Rob on one side, all right, Slim on the other. Rob's looking at the computer. Slim's working the mixer. He's there. I don't know why. I set these knobs. I really never move them that much. But he's right there with the mixer. And then you got Slambo. Slambo's there. And they did this song. I don't understand. It was supposed to be funny, but I don't understand. It was probably a rap song. And Slambo did it like screaming. I didn't get it. I'm sure it was probably funny if
you caught it out of context.
Yeah, if you got the context of it, I'm sure it was funny. And Slambo did a great job with it. Now, what I didn't see was, what was the chick's name? Amanda?
Yes.
Go ask Amanda. Yeah, she wasn't there, so maybe she's gone. But it's a funny show. And the funny thing about those guys is they just, nothing, even if it upsets him or what's going on, he just keeps on rolling. He doesn't stop for nobody.
He's a performer. Bonnie Tyler.
But
somebody covered that song not that long ago.
A cat in a sandbox? And we're back. All right. Is it me next?
Yes. If I just read, then it must be you.
I don't remember.
Sieve brain.
Ice in the Face with Sarah and Rick.
Horribly Awkward with Sean Fuller, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
Now That I'm Older with Shane and Kenny.
Toe on the Trigger with Daniel, Nicole with a Q, Courtney 3000. Listen, don't go looking for them. Because they're taking 6 weeks off.
Wow, that's pretty shitty. Like they don't have like a catalog of back episodes to listen to.
Don't look for a new show. If you want to roll out a back episode, go back and roll out a back episode. What do you want from me?
It's like podcast bully now.
Podcast shout-outs for upcoming shows. Take 6 weeks off.
Oh, boy. Okay. And we're back. The Story Behind with Emily Prokop.
The Nerd of Wells podcast with Eric, Sam, and Chris, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
Horrible Gamers with Jesus, Ryan, Eric, Gunny, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
Epic Film Guys with Nick and Justin.
I'm going to skip a little bit. The Hunan podcast with Rocky Star and B.B. Briley's coming back soon. He just had his third episode, and I don't know if you listened to it or not. It was funny as shit. They got a pretty well-rounded podcast. They go from metal to like talking about games and shit that's going on in the world. I mean, there's a little bit of everything.
You know
for
why
everybody
you like it?
In there.
Because you were breaking my balls about the Eagles.
Well, yeah.
That's why you like it.
And anybody that breaks John's balls.
Anybody that breaks my balls, Deuce is forever a fan.
Well, you don't have them on the list. And I have to also say that Rocky does a hell of a job promoting the Hush Your Face Network. I mean, he is like a rash on Twitter, and he's promoting all of our shows.
Great guy.
And, I mean, he's really doing it. So go ahead now that I did it out of order and fucked you all up.
No, I'm putting it on there right now because I don't want to hear your shit anymore.
Okay. See that? My work here is done.
Rocky. There we go. All right. And then also we got to put the Bro-Rons on there.
Mm-hmm. Also part of the Hush Your Face
Bro-Rons. I know Daryl was here, but I don't know the other guy. Which I guess is his brother. What do you want from me? I told you. I got the memory of a dead cat.
Wow.
All right, so they're on there. And are we forgetting anybody? We got the Bro-Rons, Who Knows? Oh, everyone has a podcast with Adam and Brian. We didn't do that one.
Right.
Take us home with the Naked Porch one there, Joe.
The Naked Porch podcast with Ray, Danielle, and Chris.
We can't seem to do a show less than 2 hours now.
Nope.
We've been rolling.
Yeah, but you edited the shit out of it.
But I might not now.
Chop it down.
I might just keep it to 2 hours. Because what's the difference between an hour and a half?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Of course.
You knew that was coming, didn't you?
As soon as I said it.
I could see the look of chagrin on your face.
As soon as I said it, I said,
why do I even bother?
Why do I even bother?
Oh, boy.
All right, well, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Everybody in the chat, I love it when you guys come here and hang out with us.
And we had Daryl, we had Emily, we had Brian, of course, my cousin Eddie. They all came out.
Daryl from the Bro-Rons was here. Doug from Who's Right podcast.
Yeah.
Brian Tulip Jr. always in here giving us great content. Jason Bryan, who is in Paris right now, announcing the world wrestling, whatever he does over there. Nick Suberling, my friend Nick Suberling, he also has a podcast about the Cincinnati soccer team, and I don't know the name of it because I don't really like soccer. Nick's a great guy and a good podcaster, good friend. My buddy Pat Palladino from he was a mechanic on a sprint car, and I used to help him out. All right, let's get out of here.
Yes, let's.
Come on, let's get the out of here.
Okay, all righty. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you come back next week for another exciting episode of the Brand X Podcast.
And we thank you all for your participation. We couldn't do it without you, and we await your arrival next time. Was that so hard?
All right, is that okay? Oh, boy.
Will you shut the fuck up so I can end the recording?
That's it. We're just getting into it.